Scott, this is great news. This is something that PlayStation needed to resolve. They took to Twitter. Helldivers fans can rejoice. Here's the feedback. You ready? Helldivers fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update. Boy,
there was a lot of feedback.
There certainly was. The May 6th update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning on May 30th, will not be moving forward. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support for Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. Scott, I hope those future plans are only good things to keep the game going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think PlayStation needs to learn from this moment in time and keep these lessons forever, because there's still PlayStation games coming to PC. At least I hope so.
No, there's definitely still a lot in the works over at PlayStation. The biggest question for me and others like yourself is, do they become day and date like Helldivers? Dude, if anybody's living under a rock and missed what happened, Helldivers suddenly came out with, well, it wasn't even Helldivers. It was in the fine print, but it wasn't really there because Helldivers 2 had such a rocky launch. They were initially there to link your PlayStation with your Steam account. And then that's how they kind of keep track of things. And that way they wanted to be able to monitor abuse and this, that, and the other, which abuse is a massive thing on the internet. Hands down, we get that part. And I appreciate it. Dude, we deal with it on a regular basis over here. It is just one of those things, right? Like, being toxic on the internet is just easy, and it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
So they want to be able to kind of counter that somehow. And their idea to counter that was linking it with their PlayStation and the PC account. Dude, I'm already linked on Steam, so like I'm already there. For me, it wasn't an issue. I also have it on PlayStation, so that wasn't an issue either. But when it comes to yourself, you don't have a PlayStation.
Yeah,
you have a Steam account, right? And there's a lot of other people in the same boat that you are. And there's some regions still to this day that do not have access to PlayStation accounts. It's just not in their region, which is, it's a funny thing to think of, dude. I didn't even realize that until people were like, well, what about us over here? And then Arrowhead comes to the front and go, we don't know yet. Like, they literally just, we don't know. If you are playing it right on Steam right now and you get this, we don't know what's going to happen to you right now. And then the feedback came out and go, like, why are we doing this? Steam has their way to go about toxic community behavior. Let the Steam community board and all that, let them take care of that stuff, and let Helldivers, dude, just flourish. Because it's been firing on all cylinders from the minute the game dropped to where we are just last week. Because the minute this came out, dude, player count numbers just dove. Straight nosedive, right? Because they're like,
reviews on Steam completely went from super positive to incredibly negative. And although I understand the sentiment, it's not exactly representative of the game, so it's not the right way of doing that. But I think PlayStation had to pull some strings really to get this resolved, because this is an unprecedented situation. I think I've seen it talked about. I think there's 195 countries on Earth, and 100 of them were unable to play Helldivers suddenly.
That's nuts.
Steam was issuing refunds based on just this situation. Hours spent in the game didn't matter, so everybody kind of had to bend the rules a little bit to make this work. I have to only hope that this was a lesson for everybody.
Absolutely. It's one of those things, if they just would have never said anything at all, like, obviously people are playing it now. Just let it go. If they just would have let it go, they wouldn't have had review bombs, which are unnecessary. Like, everybody's been playing this game for months now. There's no reason for you to suddenly just review bomb it because PlayStation came out and said, hey, you have to link to us. That's just not cool. It doesn't help the game at all. It's not Arrowhead's fault, right? Like,
it's not a product review at that point. It's a distribution review, and that's no good for anybody. Everybody knows. Everybody's angry at Sony, and they've heard the feedback, likely.
So now I'm curious, how many people dive back in, right? Are Helldiver 2 fans returning now? Our good friend Corey, dude, plays it on Steam, right? Corey there plays this game almost religiously at this point, it feels like. Every time we talk to him, we're like, Corey, what are you playing? Helldivers, right? Like, it's that in Call of Duty. So Corey's always on this game for us.
Helldivers myself.
Oh, I'm just lacking time. Dude, it's cool, but I'm kind of getting that urge to dive back in. So yeah, maybe I might just join you for shooting some bugs. But we'll see what happens. It's nice that Sony just came out and said, yeah, you know what? We heard you. That's the biggest thing. I think that is the biggest thing. We heard you. Okay, good. Glad you're listening. You fixed it. Cool. What do we do about all of the bombed reviews? Can we get rid of those reviews? Like, can you delete them? Can Steam do anything about it? Because when the game launches and the reviews come out, those can be warranted. Now, if somebody comes in a year later going, that's a review bomb, like that's a negative review, that's a negative review, but that had nothing to do with the game. That had everything to do with PlayStation making you link it. So people got mad and they just started bombing the game. I'm like, that has nothing to do with how the game plays, how the game feels, how whatever. It's just you have to link the game to your PlayStation account, which is no longer the case.